People, beautiful, beautiful people. So, today, my wife told me that she wants me to speak to you all about what I mean when I say lose my mind, because men don't speak about their mental health enough. And to be honest, that's probably not something I should be throwing around without giving a kind of a follow through on that, because I get it. I understand there's a lot of there's many things you can mean by I'm losing my mind. And as who I am and the things I'm a part of is probably responsible to make sure everybody knows I'm not losing it from a standpoint of myself. More than anything, it comes down to a form of surrender, right? Because as who I am and the type of person I've been, probably since third grade, when these two girls got in a fight uh at recess because they both wanted to be my girlfriend, so they got into it. Even before then, I've always known the always known that there was something about me was special. I've always known that. And sometimes that showed itself through different ways. And excuse me, and one of the way that I poured into myself was playing ball, right? Football. And so over the years, my identity, even not in a bad way, but my identity, my self-assessing, self-assessments was based on how involved I am in being in getting myself better at the things I was a part of. And so the difference between now and then is that back then, the things I was a part of, they had no way to slime me out to do things that were dirty and go again. What I've learned, and then we're gonna get into this book. What I've learned, you don't even know how people can impact you. You have no idea. And this isn't for everybody. I'm just talking about the people that maybe feel like they losing their minds because they've experienced life in many different ways, and now whether it's frustration, depression, anxiety, there are many things that can make someone feel like they're losing their mind. So for me, when I say I'm losing my mind, I think what I'm expressing is that it's like I'm climbing this mountain, and the peak just it never seems to get closer, but we have a step counter in our hand, and the step counter just keeps ticking. Stepping. We're a machine. And as that machine, you expect the machine to do what the machine is supposed to do, get you up the mountain. But somehow, it still doesn't feel like we're up the mountain. And last thing I'm saying on that, and then we're going to get into the book and I'm going to get back into it, is don't think like that though, because as long as you keep stepping, all of a sudden, overnight, you became an overnight success. You reached the peak overnight. That's how it's going to feel. It's going to feel like you took 50, 100,000, million steps, a million steps. And through the 999,999th step, it just felt like you couldn't win at all. But on that 1 millionth step, all of a sudden you're overlooking everything. That's how that works. And so if you're one of the people going down that kind of path in your own way, I don't know what that's like, but if you feel like you're just stepping and stepping and stepping and that peak of that mountain isn't getting any closer and it's one you're meant to be climbing, I get it. I understand. Cut my nails last night. I understand. And it's okay to lose your mind in the process. Many of greats, they lost their mind in the process of becoming great because they had to take the million steps. They had to get the 10,000 plus hours of actually putting work into the craft. Whether you're a business person, whether you're somebody that, if you want to work up the corporate America ladder, that chain, more power to you. Do it. Actually work up that ladder. Do not let the the twists and turns of that mountain deter you because people are looking out for themselves. And I don't know how to explain corporate America because I'm not in it and don't ever plan to be it, but maybe I will if I ever start my own company, go public. I don't know. Who knows, right? But that was me being kind of facetious. So anyway, um, whether it's you want to work at the corporate America chain, you want to dive deeper into your faith. Um, you want to have better friendships. You want better relationships. People you can actually trust. People you can actually speak to and speak life into because they're going to speak life back into you. That is important. And that is a mountain to be climbed. You know why? Because a lot of the people that you're around right now, if that's the mountain that you need to climb, a lot of the people that you even allow to speak to you don't deserve your presence right this very moment. Maybe things change over time. They don't deserve your presence and your energy this very moment. So there's many a ways, many a mountains that we all need to climb. We could go through them for hours. I'd rather let me know in the comments if you need me to, if you want me to talk about something specific, if you have an experience that you would like to relay to everybody, because that's what No Parachutes is about. It's climbing that mountain without looking back. There is no detour, no break off to get off this mountain and go back down and choose another one. No, once you decide you're taking that first step, you better be ready to climb. You better be ready to climb. It's like strapping yourself into a Versa climber. If you had a lock on it until you hit that peak. All right, so gonna turn to a random page, maybe one chapter. I've been doing this the last few days. All right, we're going middle of the book too, so that we're in periods of transition is what I like to call it. Let's see how much that is. It's a lot of reading. Not gonna read. Okay, so I'm not going to read the whole verse, but I do want to read Jeremiah 5:22. Fear ye not me, saith the Lord. Will ye not tremble at my presence, which have placed the sand for the bound of the sea by a perpetual decree, that it cannot pass? And though the waves thereof toss themselves, yet they cannot prevail. Though they roar, yet they can yet yet can they not pass over it? But this people hath a revolting and rebellious heart. They are revolted and gone. Neither say in their heart, Let us now fear the Lord our God, that giveth rain, both the former and the latter, in his season. He reserveth unto us the appointed weeks of the harvest. Your iniquities have turned away these things, and your sins have withholden good things from you. For among my people are found wicked men. They lay wait as he that setteth snares. They set a trap, they catch men. As a cage is full of birds, so are their houses full of deceit. Therefore they are become great and waxen rich. They are waxen fat, they shine, yea, they overpass the deeds of the wicked. They judge not the cause of the fatherless, yet they prosper, and the right of the needy do not they judge. Shall I not visit for these things, saith the Lord? Shall my shall not my soul be avenged on such a nation as this? A wonderful and horrible thing is committed in the land. The prophets prophesy falsely, and the priests bear rule by their means, and my people love to have it. So, what will ye do in the end thereof? First things first, I love this Bible because it's an older translation. Second thing, many things can be taken out of that. And if we wanted to look at it directly for what it's saying, that was God's frustration with the Jews as they were not. That was Joshua 5, I think 15 through the end. Um, 6, I'm sorry. So God's frustration with the Jews is um, they were not believing in and fearing their God. So how do you look at your circumstances? And how do you look at someone else's circumstances? Part of losing my mind has been to take accountability for everything that I'm a part of and everything that happens to me. Because I believe that this God that's being spoken about, written about, the living God is my God. That's in that very belief, me, as somebody who, like I said in episode 1, runs through walls for real. I'm learning that some of these walls are not to be run through. These walls are I'm told to sit in front of them, kneel in front of them, pray in front of them. Because by the time I lift my head, that wall might not even be there. Do you realize, like, as somebody who went through everything that I went through, I truly am not supposed to be someone so compassionate, so loving. It would be so easy for me to be one of the most hateful, frustrated, angry, uh, do for self type of people. A true bona fide crash out. It would be so easy for me to be a true bona fide crash out. And I was this close. I was this close. But I think, I think I could say a lot of things that have helped me from that, but my wife is really what saved me from that. And my wife definitely, even though the pitfalls that I've had are what they were, my wife definitely came into my life God driven. And she's the one that brought me back to my faith a little more aggressively than I was. I've always believed in God, that Jesus is the Son of God, but the that he died on the cross for my sins. As a kid, I really did have a strong faith, had a strong faith. I always knew that there was more to this life than I could handle. I always dropped to my knees in prayer. And I think part of losing my mind was losing that. I now have to lose my mind because I lost that faith previously. And now it's critical to regain that posture. It's critical. And so it's like this, it's like being on a spiral ride up. And you can only hit the next part of the spiral if you actually if you learn the lessons from the previous one. And so some people, their pinnacle, they're still way down because they just haven't learned the lesson. Everybody's lessons come at different points in that spiral, but imagine spinning the same wheel, boom, 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 knowing that there's all these levels of things for you. And these things for you are just based off of you in your heart doing what you know you're supposed to be doing. This podcast I've talked about and I've done the podcast stuff. I was on ESPN in 2017, 18, whatever that was. You know, um, and and to sit here and think that was 8 years. Had I just stayed the course for 8 years, what would have come from it? Not that I needed to dive headfirst into podcasting, but if I stayed on my content production, how I had started the vision, what would have come from it? I don't know. But I know that in terms of what podcasting can do for me and my people, I'm still on the first ring of hundreds. All because when life hit, I fell back and I got so consumed the with everything else. Got so consumed with what I needed to be doing, what life needed to look like, what people are asking me about. Look, man, we're not all meant to be understood. We're not. We're truly not all meant to be understood. And I want you to know if you're somebody that feels misunderstood, you in this book, as long as you in this book, it don't matter if you're understood. As soon as you get away from that book though, and you start feeling that misunderstanding, you're gonna start wanting to crash out. I haven't come to really figure out if I'm gonna post these or not because I'm going on a 90-day social media fast. And I have to figure out exactly what that looks like for me because I obviously need to post videos if I'm going to keep these going, but maybe I just record them. I don't know. But in getting to that 90-day social media fast, I don't even know why I brought that up. I don't know, but really interesting to think about the last 5 years, though. What I was doing 5 years ago this time, everything that has happened, great stuff, truly. There's been some super dope stuff. Um, and there's been some really bad things. And there's been some normalcy, right? So, I'm trying to make the eyes. Um, to sum to sum up the answer of what does it mean to me to lose my mind, believe to lose your mind is to allow yourself to suffer the lack of understanding of the necessary actions to get to the place you're meant to be. Because you don't even know where you're meant to be sometimes. God will put you there if you listen. And sometimes listening, you are going to feel crazy because it's not for you to understand why this is necessary. It's just to do what's told to you is necessary with your head up or down, however, wherever you need to be in that moment. But in terms of are you going to get glorified? Maybe, maybe not. The glory is not for you, the glory is for God. You're there to grind, to put in the work. It was crazy, actually. The last sermon, Pastor Earl was talking about how, you grind, you put in this work, you put in this work, and then boom, everything that you do is supposed to be for the glory of God, and that's true. And the glory of God is supposed to be your joy. That's what's supposed to be your joy, that people come to Him through you. And in that, you might leave. I said it in the last video I posted on Instagram. You might leave that process with dirt under your nails, with scars all over your body, beat up, torn up, and to think that you about to go get tore up for the glory of God, not for your glory, but for the glory of God. Whatever you receive, that's just a byproduct of his glory, his faith in you, to have the faith in him. It's easy to lose your mind when you think about that and when you embody it, because you have to turn into something that you've never known. Maybe you knew it before, but you don't know it now, or you wouldn't need to be changing. Don't hold on to feeling like you have it figured out. And sometimes losing your mind just is losing the idea that you have it figured out. I want to start talking about government contracting and stuff, but it's just not time yet. Maybe we'll see. Oh, with love. Catch y'all in the next one. Leave